Good Tuesday morning. Thank you for joining us on Kare 11 News Now. I'm Audrey Russo. Breaking news this morning, all schools in District 196 will be closed after multiple schools received threats. A district spokesperson says those threats were left over voicemail. Now, parents woke up to this post on the district website around 6:15, closing all schools for the day. Employees have also been asked to stay home. Eagan police tell us they're working with neighboring law enforcement agencies to determine if the threats are credible. Now, District 196 includes Apple Valley, Eastview, Rosemount, and Eagan high schools. We'll stay on top of this story and bring you the very latest as we learn it. Also developing this morning, temporary protected status for Somalia is in limbo. Homeland Security was poised to terminate TPS at 11:59 tonight, but this past Friday, a federal judge put a halt on that, giving Somali nationals with TPS a little more time. Now, Minneapolis city officials posted on social media encouraging those with TPS to talk to a lawyer and seek other legal avenues to try and stay in the country. Right now, there's roughly 400 Somali nationals in Minnesota with TPS. Temporary protected status was offered to Somali nationals back in the 90s as they fled civil war in the country. Now, the Trump administration vowed to end it back in January, encouraging Somali nationals to self-deport by offering a free plane ticket and a $1,000 exit bonus. Now, Friday's ruling from the federal judge gives both the feds and immigration advocates the chance to file arguments, but this is just the start of what could be a lengthy legal battle. Happening today at the state capitol, House lawmakers are expected to hold their first vote on Harvey's Law. The bill is named after the 11-month-old killed at a Savage daycare last fall. Megan McPherson is at the Capitol with the details.
Lawmakers will vote on Harvey's Law in a committee meeting that is set for 3 this afternoon, and they are also set to vote on several other bills that are aimed at increasing oversight in Minnesota child care centers. You can take a look at those bills here on your screen. They're calling for clearer reporting of child fatalities, expanded investigative powers for the foster youth ombudsperson, and required notification to parents when maltreatment happens in child care centers. Last week, the parents of Harvey Mucklebust, who was killed at a Savage daycare last fall, testified in support of Harvey's Law. The proposal would require cameras in infant and toddler rooms at licensed child care centers receiving state funding. It would also require video footage be kept for 28 days. And the state did clear Rocking Horse Ranch to reopen last week, 6 months after Harvey was killed there. If Harvey's Law passes, Minnesota would be the first state to require cameras for child care centers. Back to you.
Megan, thank you. Also this morning, a move to ban so-called ghost guns in Minnesota is moving forward at the state capitol. Ghost guns are weapons that can be 3D printed or assembled at home without a serial number. The new bill would prohibit people without federal firearms licenses from purchasing or selling ghost guns. Now, possession of one would become a crime with a grace period for people who applied for a serial number but haven't received one yet. Now, Governor Walz says this bill is one of his legislative priorities this session. And developing this morning, President Trump is insistent that the war in Iran is won and that prices for oil and gas will fall once the fighting stops. But now more U.S. allies are refusing to get involved as the president and Iran signal that they're unwilling to negotiate. NBC's Alice Barr has the details.
Hi there. Israel today claiming to have killed 2 high-ranking Iranian regime figures, including the country's powerful security chief, who has been essentially running day-to-day operations during the war.
Israel today claiming to have killed Iran's top security official, Ali Larijani, among the most powerful regime leaders to have survived earlier strikes. Israel also claiming it killed the head of a key militia used to suppress protests. It's unclear what those assessments are based off of, and Iran did not immediately confirm the claims. That as Iran lashes out at American targets across the region, including a strike near the U.S. Embassy in Baghdad, while still attacking tankers in the Strait of Hormuz, aiming to drive oil prices up even more. President Trump upping the pressure on U.S. allies to help secure and unblock that crucial oil route.
They should be not only thanking us, they should be helping us. What does surprise me is that they're not eager.
The European Union's foreign policy chief saying member nations don't have the appetite for a stepped-up military presence in the strait.
This is not Europe's war.
President Trump clearly frustrated with NATO allies.
40 years we're protecting you and you don't want to get involved.
While insisting some countries have agreed to help without naming them.
We have some that are really enthusiastic. They're coming already.
As gas prices soar here at home, up nearly 80 cents a gallon in a month, critics are slamming the president's strategy in the strait.
He's done a terrible job planning in advance for how to stop it from being used as a weapon.
And as they push for a way out, new details from 6 people with knowledge of the plans, telling NBC News President Trump is presented regularly with options to end the war, but hasn't taken any so far.
The sources NBC News spoke to about White House exit strategy discussions say those in favor of getting out are concerned about the oil crisis and economic instability, while other aides have focused on the opportunity to erode Iran's influence in the region. In Washington, Alice Barr, NBC News.
A former Minnesota state trooper accused of killing a woman after crashing his squad car into her vehicle will stand trial in Olmsted County. Shane Roper's lawyers asked to move the trial out of the county, saying they wouldn't be able to find an impartial jury there with the extensive media coverage. But a judge said news coverage has been factual, and most of it dates back to a year ago when the crash happened. Roper is charged with killing 18-year-old Olivia Flores. He struck her car while going more than 80 miles per hour near a Rochester mall. Now, his trial has not been scheduled. The March storm is putting a strain on cities as crews work hard to clean up the streets. In Minneapolis, you have until 8 a.m. to move your car from the odd side of the streets that are not on snow emergency routes. So you'll need to move them to an even side or to a marked snow emergency route, and you'll see those marked with a red sign. Now, the city is also offering free parking in the Farmers Market lot on East Lyndale and on the 4th Street North lot until 8 o'clock tonight. And in St. Paul, parking is not allowed on day plow routes starting at 8 o'clock this morning. The city's website does have a long list of surface lots where you can park. Officials are asking you to remove your car once the street has been plowed to the curb. All vehicles must be off the surface lots no later than 5 tonight. Now, St. Paul's snow emergency goes until Thursday night. And an update this morning out of Hermantown, where a city council meeting over a proposed data center got heated. This is their first meeting since officials announced that Google is behind the project. Community members say they're worried about the environmental impacts and how it'll change the rural area. Others say it's an investment in the local economy that the city hasn't seen in a long time.
First and foremost, it means jobs. Good paying local union jobs, from site prep to electrical installation to long-term maintenance and upgrades. This data center will employ hundreds of skilled building tradespeople from Hermantown and the surrounding communities.
Our founding fathers would roll over in their graves at what is happening to the land they invested their time, money, and hard work to establish.
Now, the City Council also heard from Minnesota Power. The company says the data center won't affect rates, and Google has promised to invest in green energy in the region. Good news for the Bloomington Kennedy Show Choir. They're set to arrive home today after getting stranded in Los Angeles because of this weekend's snowstorm. They ended up having to fly to Salt Lake City, then Denver, then they got on some charter buses. They'll be home later this afternoon. And right now, a local bluegrass band called the Gillyweeds is going viral for all the wrong reasons after a social media post claimed all 6 of its members were killed in a plane crash. Except the band and its demise are all made up. The general manager confirming to Kare 11 it's fake, part of a multimedia treasure hunt experience that the manager creates. The music is part of another trend. More and more of it is being generated by artificial intelligence, sometimes even topping charts, competing directly with human artists.
The line separating people's ability to express themselves is essentially evaporated. Anybody can do it.
Now, experts say we need to remember how to spot red flags every time we consume something online, while also recognizing how many industries are collaborating with artificial intelligence, including advertising and film. Right now, the new Mystic Lake Amphitheater in Shakopee is hiring. They say they're hiring more than 800 seasonal employees, including everything from ushers to food and drinks to parking attendants and security. Hourly wages start at $18 an hour for non-tipped positions. Anyone interested can apply online, and the first show at the Mystic Lake Amphitheater is set for Monday, June 22nd. Today is St. Patrick's Day, but you don't need to be in Ireland to celebrate. St. Paul is a top St. Patrick's Day destination, and in just a few hours, Irish Arts Minnesota is kicking things off with the annual St. Paddy's Day Irish celebration in downtown. Then at noon, the 60th annual parade will start at Mears Park, ending at Rice Park. If you're heading out to that area, the St. Patrick's Association recommends parking in the lots and ramps along Kellogg and north of 6th Street East. Road closures on 5th Street East and intersecting roads between 6th and 4th will begin at 11. Stick with us for more news and weather. It's coming up right after the break.